And welcome to episode number 36 of The Final Whistle. I am Kyle, and rejoining us after a week off due to some, illness is back. He's still fighting it, but Mark is back. Mark, good morning to you, sir. How the hell are you?
Oh, we're doing great. Obviously, the illness bug is all around Northeast Ohio. As we go from 70 degrees to 40 degrees to rain to whatever the hell else. Tis the season, but we are back. We have a great show in store. Not only that, but it is at the time of this recording, March Madness National Championship Monday. Kyle, obviously, you're wearing your Michigan blue. I know you're excited for the game. We'll touch on it a little bit, I'm sure, here shortly. But how are you feeling about tonight's game?
It's gonna be exciting. Be honest, I didn't expect us to blow Arizona out like they did in the Final Four. But it's pretty much a BTA, belt to ass, as we refer to in the sporting world. But it's going to be very interesting how tonight's game goes. UConn is definitely no pushover, and Mark, I know we talked about. I don't get how UConn was not favored in that game on Saturday against
I
Illinois.
don't either.
I didn't think Illinois had the firepower. They did for a little bit, but I don't understand why. I mean, I get it. The
I mean,
betting is
the
betting,
only
and
thing I really saw from Illinois was size that could even keep them around and pace of play. They kind of play that Big Ten slow style, but
yeah.
other than that, I mean, we talked about it in the beginning when we broke down March Madness. UConn had an 18 game win streak for a reason. They were arguably a number one seed for most of the year, and even walking into this tournament before their little skid at the end of the year. And they have a great coach in Dan Hurley, so I was also equally surprised, and I couldn't believe the that Illinois was the favorite walking into that.
Yeah, and the way they played, I mean, hey, Grant, I mean, they had the firepower and they defeated number two seed in Houston, who was a favorite, and then they didn't see Florida because Florida got upset by Iowa in the Sweet 16. So it was definitely interesting. As it's gonna be interesting, I think we both have their kind of. There's a lot of physicality going to go on in this game. UConn loves to be physical. Michigan loves the body down low. So it's gonna be very interesting against UConn. Now, at the time of this release, the game's gonna be done. We're gonna know. So we'll kind of recap the game next week before we continue. But so Michigan and UConn play for the national title. Well, played for the national title. Play whatever. Played at times recording whatever. But tonight at 8:50. We also want to remind you that we have our live show coming up again in April 29th. We are live on YouTube right here. We are going to be able to chat with you and do a little draft recap. We cannot wait for that. And we'll chat with you about what we thought, the steals of the draft, who picked what and where. And then also we have a very special thing we're going to be starting with you all in May, as we got this idea thrown to us by a viewer and a neighbor of mine, Danny, who's going to who kind of brought this up. So we are going to start. We don't want to spoil it because we want to make sure it goes according to plan. But when we do, we are very excited, Mark, to get it going. And I think it's gonna be a good change for a good change. Nothing's changing here. Nothing's changing. We're still gonna do our news and all that. But when you see what we're gonna do, I think it's gonna be very excited, and it's gonna keep you guys tuned in to see what the next thing's gonna be after the first one in May.
Yeah, I would agree. Obviously, we're not doing any spoilers, but we're definitely doing teasers here today on this on the time of this recording. So enjoy the teaser and stay tuned for May. May will be a big month, big announcements, and big things to come.
And
And
we have
don't
two
miss
guests.
Danny.
Hell yeah, and hell yeah! Thank you, Danny, for the idea. We're gonna try it, and we're gonna roll with it and see how it works. If we like it, we're gonna keep doing it. If not, then we'll switch it up again. But we're very appreciative of the idea, and we are going to see how it goes. And then we have two guests coming up in the next 2 weeks. We have Aaron and Dennis are going to be joining us for different perspectives for the draft and the NHL and NBA playoffs. So we're very excited. We got a packed couple of weeks for you. We're very excited for that. We hope you will tune in. And don't forget the live show April 29th. All right. So with the kind of a news, not a kind of a lull in the action of news as we kind of prepare for the draft, we thought, I know as what's on your minds for some, I know Mark, we've been talking about this, the sports streaming and where the games are, where you can find them in the sports, where, we got the NFL starting to stream a little bit on Netflix on Christmas, NBA's on Prime and Peacock now, NHL's on ESPN Plus, college on ESPN Plus, Mark. When So there's a lot of subscriptions people got to buy, and you got to buy the right one to get the right game mark. And we were talking about this with our buddy Sean the other day. With the comes the Guardians TV, if you don't have it on a certain package, you have to buy that's extra on top of the cable package or whatever streaming package you have. So let's give you your first thoughts on some of the streaming and what you've thought of it so far since the changeovers kind of happened in a recent number of years.
Yeah, I mean, it's been, in the grand scheme of things, it's been kind of a trickle effect for the sporting world as far as moving over to streaming. It felt like a lot faster than what it was, but now it's basically all streaming, right? You really don't have a whole lot of quote unquote cable TV. It's a lot more. It's really just all streaming now. The problem is, and obviously we talk about it pretty consistently, and I'm sure a lot of the viewers here do too. And you guys probably don't even realize it. You're consistently asking, does this streaming service, whether it's how you get your live TV or what you have or don't have, does it have the games that I'm looking for? Can I add on the game, who I want to watch? For instance, like Kyle said, our buddy Sean, him and I both use YouTube TV. We're looking to see if the Guardians play and if we can just add it onto a YouTube TV package, or we have to do something completely different on our TVs. There's situations with the NBA as well. If you want to watch the Cavs, I believe they're on FanDuel Sports, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, FanDuel Network. Yep.
Again, we're asking, especially before the playoffs, if they're trying to make a push for the 1 seed, or if they're in, let's say, a Charlotte Hornets situation where they're making a push for the play-in. Where are we going to be able to find these games? Because every game is going to mean something. Can we add this onto our current package?
Right.
So it kind of becomes a big game, and we've broken down some of the numbers that we've looked up and whatever. And I mean, you're looking at, Kyle. This is a very interesting point, and I'll see kind of where this takes our conversation. I'll kind of drop it in here. I mean, you're looking at roughly $150 per month, bare minimum, and that's with the minimum subscription on each of these services. They all offer premium services as well, which you'd probably be looking at anywhere between $250 to $300 potentially if you bought all the subscriptions annually for every piece of TV that you wanted to watch, sporting-wise only. That's basically a whole nother utility bill that you're adding on per month. Honestly, it's more than some of my utilities right now currently. So you're looking at anywhere between $150 to $300 per month to watch every single sporting event that you would want to watch, right. And none of it is all under one umbrella. It has to go here, there, and everywhere. So it's a very interesting topic. I think that's why we were so excited to bring it to you guys this morning. And I mean, Kyle, take it away with how you feel about it. I mean, you're constantly having to switch over from one streaming service to the next depending on the day. I mean, it could be any given Saturday. You're looking at a YouTube TV to a Paramount to a MLB TV switch, and you're hoping that one of the apps don't crash.
Yeah, and I'll just thinking about this. You were talking. We'll talk. I'll start the MLB because obviously baseball is a bigger sport for me. Yeah. Even though I watch all of them, but bigger sport along with NHL and then NBA, NFL, etc. But so yeah, like Apple TV, the MLB has Friday night games on Apple TV Plus. You have to buy a subscription just to watch it. You know, Guardians were just on. They're coming up at least once or twice more during the season, and maybe even more depending on how they flex the schedule and all that. But I'm not paying because I'll be honest. I mean, I know some people do, but I don't use Apple TV Plus as much. I don't use it for. That would be the only thing I would use it for is the baseball. But I'm not going to sit here and pay a monthly subscription for 6 months when I'm wasting money for just one game. Like that's just that's stupid. Like I don't get. I mean, I get it. We're switching from linear cable to the streaming, but Apple TV. I know it's hard. I mean, I don't know about anybody else, but I'll say for me, like it's annoying. Like I don't want to sit here and only when it's like once every couple months. I don't want to be paying for a subscription for an Apple TV that I don't use or an Apple TV Plus account I don't use. Like it's stupid the way this, especially on MLB negotiates these contracts. Like I get it, they got Peacock, which I use Peacock for college basketball, football. Yeah. Some other shows that I watch during downtime when there's no sports, NBA, but with the Apple TV, it's just one that it just mind boggles me. This is a service they want to use. Like Apple TV is not really. I mean, maybe it is for some people, but for me, it doesn't really move the needle. And you want people to watch, but you I mean, I'm not. I just hate when you'd have to pay. Like, I don't watch it outside of baseball, so it's like dumb for me to just, oh, okay, I got to miss a game. It sucks, especially on a Friday night, on a summer night. Unless we're not at the game, you want to watch it, but then you're stuck not watching it because it's on stupid Apple TV, which I don't get. And the blackouts suck too. Like the blackouts for MLB. I mean, I get it. All the sports have blackouts. It's fine, but it's just like, what are we? I get it. You need the money. You want people to tune in. Like Guardians TV, Reds TV, they all got MLB's running this pretty much. But you want to pay for Apple TV. You want to pay for Peacock, but Peacock kind of all the sports. We'll leave that out. But like MLB TV, and now you got to worry about Guardians TV. Like there's MLB's for all you fans that don't know. I know most you do, but there's the Guardians TV. Like MLB host it and produce it. We just use our announcers, etc., etc. So you're paying that, and you're paying if you want MLB TV or MLB something else. You're just, I don't know. It's frustrating what the MLB is doing. Now, you do have the opening night on Netflix, which everybody uses Netflix, so it's not really a bad thing. It's you don't have to pay for it on top of what you're using. So that's a bonus. They have the Home Run Derby that's going to be on Netflix, which is nice. Again, you get you get your subscription that you have now, and they just add it on, which is nice. You're not paying for a lot of that. You're not paying extra, which is nice, but you got to pay extra for Apple TV and stuff like that, Mark. It's really annoying when it's only like once or twice every season, maybe 3 to 4 times. But I mean, I don't use it. I mean, maybe I'm just sounding, selfish here, but I think, okay, I'm not going to have it sit there when I don't use it when it's stupid because Apple TV, I don't know. It's frustrating that somehow the MLB's been using this.
Yeah, I mean, I would definitely agree, and I think that is kind of a microcosm of everything else that happens in the sports world, especially when it comes to streaming, right? Like, in a sense, obviously, like Kyle, we've talked about it. Like, there's some shows on random things that you will watch. Obviously, like your Peacock, your Netflix, and then you have like Hulu and YouTube TV, which are live TV providers. So
Right.
like your cable without the cable, so to speak. But like you have Peacock, you've got your Apple TV, you've got Paramount Plus now with the UFC, which we've talked about more and more as that's been happening. You're only using those roughly once a week, every couple of weeks potentially. Like, but like
Well, UFC's different now because it's every week, so it actually works out. It
for the
works
most
out
part,
better
yeah.
than
But
than
there are
Apple
people
TV.
that don't always watch UFC every week, also.
Right.
So
I get it.
when it comes to, I'll put it from a casual fan's perspective, right? Like in my scenario, luckily my fiance, she already has the Apple TV from cell phone providers. Now, obviously, those of you that know, you can get the free streaming of certain platforms from certain deals from cell phone providers, Wi-Fi providers, etc. But I do agree because then you have all these subscriptions all over the place that you maybe are only using once a month, once every 2 weeks, once every 3 weeks, whatever, or even just once a week. If I have this subscription and I'm only watching one game for 2 hours once a week, I'm paying $10 for 2 hours a week. You know
Yeah.
what I'm saying? Like, it gets a bit hard to justify it, and unfortunately, what we're looking at is, I think people have talked about it recently as well, in like national media, and when these deals come out, it's literally like a streaming arms race to get to get whoever they can under their umbrella sports wise. Netflix is now jumping into, they had jumped into boxing, like the Zuffa boxing and the top rank boxing. Netflix now has, like Kyle said, MLB stuff.
WWE
You have
too.
Paramount Plus, who never had anything. Now they've got UFC and live sports. Um, who else am I missing? Peacock. Peacock has grown more and more into live sports. ESPN's doing their own streaming of sports, college sports, etc. So it's a literal arms race, and nobody is staying under the same umbrella of anything. They're all under here, 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 and here. Everything is different, and everything is only. So now you're just paying for a bunch of stuff for 1 or 2 events a week or a
Yeah.
month.
Yeah, and we move, and the NFL is doing it right. I think the NFL now,
Yeah.
Grant, they have two things you have to pay subscription for. But again, Peacock, they have Peacock, which again, it's on. Mostly the games are on NBC. NBC and Peacock are the same thing. They just simulcast it. But at Peacock, they get that one exclusive game a year, like in the Christmas time, which is okay. big whoop. Okay, we can settle with that instead of because usually it just rests on.
Yeah,
But then you got Amazon Prime that comes in for Thursday night football. So you're now like that's for me it's another like $16. I'll admit it's a my the subscription's like $16 a month or whatever. But
I believe so.
so
Yeah.
yeah. So I mean, I like what the NFL's doing. As we're pivoting to that because well, okay, they're on CBS, Fox, ESPN, and NBC. NBC's with Peacock. ESPN now. You could either get the ESPN Plus. You could sign in with your if you have cable. You could sign in with your account and it takes you. Or you could get the ESPN Plus Unlimited, where you get the bundle of Hulu, Disney, and who am I missing? Hulu, Disney, ESPN Plus. For that's just
And all the
$31.
ESPN services. Yeah.
Yeah, and I use it. I use it because Cleveland State they never get shown on TV unless it's like March
Yeah.
and they're playing a conference. So I use that for college, or if we'll say it, we always say it, we bet. So if there's a bet or something for college, and the game's close, we're gonna. I usually kind of flip it on my phone when I'm watching the bigger games on the TV just to see okay how's the game going or whatever. But so we're using that for college. But for the NFL, we'll talk about college in a little bit. But back for the NFL, like out of all, well, I could probably say the NBA. Well, I mean, I think MLB is kind of the toughest, but looking at like they're between NFL, NBA, and NHL, I think they're more the easier ones that outside the MLB because of just with their stupid blackouts. Like now, I get it; they all have their blackouts. We'll jump in the NFL or the NHL about this, but with the NFL, Mark, I think it's much easier. You got and they're trying to go on YouTube, which okay, it's free on YouTube, so you just go and click the button. Netflix, okay, it's about your subscription. They usually what they only have the two the two Christmas Day games a year. Okay, I mean, unless you're watching NBA, it just sucks. You can't go back and forth. That's the only thing bad about if you have it on your main TV. But the only bad thing about it, but it's really easy when you get the NFL for the NFL, and I think all leagues should follow this at some point. This model because I think it's a lot easier on the fans. And now they have that NFL Red Zone where you're just sitting there and you can flip 30 games or it flips for you as we like joke witching hour. So we like it just flips back and forth, which is easier for us. I think the NFL is hitting it, and they should really all the other leagues should take a playbook out of. Now I get it, you can every so often you can negotiate contracts, but NFL is making it much easier, and they should follow this blueprint compared to what other leagues are making the fans do just to get their money and um, just to get their money and just to make people harder for it to watch, especially during the season.
Yeah, I would agree. I think the NFL has it right based off the fact that they don't care about keeping their streaming under their own umbrella. They have their NFL Red Zone, they have NFL Sunday Ticket, obviously, which is for those of us that um, maybe like other teams or are so heavy into the NFL that you want to watch all the teams at all times um, without like worry or whatever. But the NFL puts on your local games on normal TV,
Right.
which no matter where you're at, you can catch at least one NFL game. And they always have a premier game for those of us that maybe don't have a local team or don't care about the local team. They have a premier game for one, four, and obviously you have your night games, Monday night games, etc., where you can always catch at least one NFL game. I think that's the model based off the fact that the NFL has your options to pay more, but you don't need to really pay anything other than have some cable and you can
Right.
catch the NFL. You also have, like Kyle said, the NFL Red Zone, which is offered on normal cable with a slight, I think it's a slight upcharge. I think like YouTube TV, they make you pay $10 because they throw it in a sports package.
Yeah.
That's like with hunting and fishing and some other
Ours
stuff.
too. Yeah.
But as far as that goes, like the NFL kind of dips their hat into a few different things and give you options if you have those services. If you want to pay for extra streaming services, you can, but if you don't, you can still catch the games on in other ways, other than like Thursday night. But I think at this point, most everybody has Amazon Prime, so it really doesn't matter, and it's just user error on if you know how to load up Prime Video or not. Um, but I mean, I agree. The NFL has it right as opposed to like the NBA, NHL, which I have kind of dabbled in trying to get on here and there, and I'm not as familiar with it. But they all have their own NHL TVs, NBA TVs, MLB TVs, where it's all exclusive to this one area.
Yeah, and we go back to the add-on package Mark was talking about. Like we are, as my cable, I want to say who it is for just so I don't bash the company. But so I don't now we got the sports package, so we get like the channel like ESPN whatever, ESPNU the channels we usually wouldn't get, but whatever. But and now it just I don't get because we wanted Red Zone. We had Red Zone with our other cable company we had, but then we moved out and just where we're at, the company didn't kind of follow us with their lines and all that. But so they had all these channels, right? They had all these baseball channels, so here's what they did. They had all these baseball channels for the first week of the season. You could watch for free, whatever, cool, Godspeed, it's awesome. Now the main channels that the teams are on, it gets blacked out, which I get it. You're not in the market, blacked out, you can't watch, which is fine, but why are you adding why are you adding these channels on? Why are you adding these channels on when you can't even watch them? Now I get it's part of the package, but we could watch like when the game's done. We watch whatever extra crap they have on, but it's
Yeah.
it's just when they add on stuff, it's annoying when it gets to like the blackout stuff and when you can't watch what you want to watch and you have to go to ESPN Plus or you got to find a way to get it now. Even that's NFL Plus. I haven't tried it yet, but the way it sounds like you still get blacked out. It says I'll watch everyone, but you still get blacked out along with MLB TV and just the other day I was looking at the Pittsburgh Penguins game. We'll go to NHL real quick on ESPN Plus. Usually they have all the games on ESPN Plus besides the Blue Jackets because you're blacked out and we're in the market, whatever. But I went I wanted to watch the Pittsburgh game just because it was late and I was with one of my buddies. We were watching because he had a bet on it, but it was blacked out. I'm like, we're not even in that market. We're not even in the Pittsburgh market, and these stupid what are we doing? I don't now. Maybe I just wasn't paying close attention, but these blackouts suck, dude. It's one thing. I get it. You're trying to get money, but it's like we're not even in the Pittsburgh market. We're like literally 3 hours away, 2.5, 3 hours away from Pittsburgh, and we can't get the game. It makes zero sense with this, Mark. But you gotta give credit to NHL. They're on TNT. They're on ESPN. They're on their Canada channel, Sportsnet, TSN. I think I'm missing another Canada channel, if I'm not mistaken. Maybe those are the main two. I know that, but yeah, but you need an ESPN Plus subscription for the out of market, which is okay. You could get that with the regular, but then if you want all the other stuff on ESPN Plus, you get the bundle with Hulu, Disney Plus, and then you can't get WWE. You need the ESPN Plus Unlimited, so you need a bigger package, and that's where they get you with the money, Mark. They get you with the money because hey, you want this, you're gonna have to pay the extra for this. Which okay, if you're diehard, you're probably gonna pay for it, or if you just want to deal if you or you just want to get Hulu and Disney Plus, so you don't have to pay, whatever, it's fine. You get the full package, but I can see they're smart with what they're doing, and it sucks that sometimes, like you said, Mark, with the packages to add on, but it also costs you an arm and a leg just to pay for all these services, especially when they know they can put it behind something big behind a paywall for you to get it, and they'll know you'll be a sucker and get it.
Yeah, I mean, like I said again, even as far as even if you're somebody that budgets your money, you end up looking at it and saying, "Oh my gosh, we're paying for this subscription once a season or for the season, and then we got to re-up it, redo it, whatever." And then you got to figure out what goes to what, who goes to who, and then whatever the case may be. So it does get extremely challenging.
Yeah.
I mean, that's completely for sure.
Yeah, and most of these subscriptions I don't cancel. One, obviously, like I said, because I watch these shows, but two, it's you kind of know when it comes out of your pay, of your bank account, so it's kind of easier to kind of go. So that's why I just leave it the Peacock, I just leave it because I know when it's coming out. Amazon, I know when it's coming out. What else might think? ESPN Plus, I know when it's coming out. So it's just when it's coming. Then going back and be like, okay, re-add the subscription, and you're like, oh crap, I thought it was coming out. I forgot it's not coming out that day. It's coming out this day. So it's kind of easier just to wind with it. And then you go to things like the NBA, and they're on Peacock, they're on Prime. They're on ESPN, Peacock, NBC, the same thing, the four main channels. Now, it's interesting. They booted NBA and ESPN could not come to an agreement on some things as they have lost their big rights, as the big rights have gone to NBC and Prime, because Prime's on a couple days during the week. NBC and Peacock's on Monday, Sunday through Tuesday, depending on what day it is, Mark. But well, I'll ask you this: from the NBA, I know you watch a little more of NBA. What has stood out to you more? And now get this: there's the FanDuel networks that the Cavs are on, and the others. It's shutting down. It seems like at the end of the season. So here we go again. It's gonna be another. Where are we gonna find the Cavs at? What channel are they gonna be on? Now, I think the Cavs have a secondary channel they could go to. I would not be surprised if they did. But for the other teams, it's gonna be very interesting, Mark, especially in the NBA when these channels shut down. That we're pretty much going to streaming from here on out.
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, I also think that they'll probably end up also under a different streaming umbrella that's a bit bigger. But other than that, I mean, I think everybody's kind of looking to be more out there and more open to get their things digested by the public. And ultimately, I mean, it'll be interesting to see, but I just see everybody being under big streaming platforms, at least somehow, some way, because their models of NBA League Pass TV, MLB TV, whatever, only going to last for so long. And that's my personal opinion on it.
Yeah, and you go, and now ESPN, we go to the college ranks about this. All the games are on ESPN Plus if you're a college, or you get your subscription. If you're watching the big boys, SEC, Big 12, ACC, SEC. I think you said SEC, but and then you got the Big 10, who's on CBS now. They're on Big 10 Network, of course, and NBC because they get those slots. And the one thing I think is frustrating, I'll say this about the Big 10 and how they run things with that. So they got this thing called the Big 10 Plus app where you can watch all the not big league, like if it's not basketball or football, you're pretty much that's where you're watching. The softball, hockey, baseball, track, field, whatever, etc., etc. So it's frustrating. As I just mentioned, Mark, I'm a baseball fan, and I love college baseball. I love the College World Series. I'm so pumped for it. It comes up in a couple months. Tournament starts later, early June, and the women's start in about a month or so. But it's just frustrating to me, Mark. Like, I want to watch this baseball, but I'm not going to pay another extra subscription for games that you could air on your network instead of hosting like these random like cooking shows and now I get it, basketball's wrapping up, so you had to deal with that. But there was a game on last night I was watching, kind of just getting ready for the show, UCLA and USC. I love it. Put a game on Sunday night. You have a game now. I think as the season winds down, we're gonna start putting more games on. But they're just like, I love it. It was a great game. It's crosstown rivals and. That's what they need to do instead of putting it on Big 10 Plus where nobody's going to see it unless they're really diehard about it. Granted, I'm diehard. I love baseball, but I'm not going to go and pay another subscription for like 2 months of a season when I could just wait till the postseason starts.
Yeah, I would agree. And like I said, I've talked to my fiance about it like here and there, just mainly on the big sports, but just in general. And it doesn't really make sense when you make a small sport super hard to find for the public because then you can't grow either.
Right.
Like it's the same with college basketball. Right now, everybody watches March Madness, as we kind of touched on it earlier today. Like everybody watches it now because it's like you can find it anywhere. It's sitting there right in front of your face.
Right.
On a normal day, you're not going to be able to find it very easy. And I think that's where a lot of these sports go wrong. But then again, like you have to be able to get paid to get that stuff out there as well, so it's really a catch-22.
Right, and we talk about this. I know some people are like, oh, like the big games. We'll dive into this a little bit because I think it goes along with the streaming and all that. When people are mad when Fox takes over big noon kickoff and they put the big games on, and there's never Ohio State rarely gets a night game unless it's like Rutgers or a non-conference game, but. This is what's happened to Big Ten, and just you get these contracts, right? And it depends. Like now this year when they play Texas, they're going to be playing probably 7:30 on ABC week 2. It's compared to what happened last year where they had to play at noon because depends what territory. If you're in Big Ten territory, Fox always has the first pick. So that's why they always get Michigan, Ohio State. They always get like Ohio State, Oregon, or Ohio State, whoever, Michigan, whoever, Penn State, whoever. But and then CBS and NBC, and I think it kind of rotates throughout the season. But I know Fox always gets the first pick, but I think CBS and NBC, they do rotate more because Fox is the staple. So that's why when people are complaining And they're like, oh, Ohio State never gets a night game. Well, you got to think Fox, right? You got to think, because you know what? Money. Fox is paying all this money for the game, and they're getting all these, because Fox is the big new kickoff. I know, Mark, we kind of dabble in that a little, but that's the secondary college game day. Like, they're, with
Yeah.
Urban Meyer, Mark Ingram, Brady Quinn. Who else am I missing? Brady Quinn. Who else am I missing? I'm trying to think. Rob's the
I think that's
co-host.
about. Those are like the main guys.
Meyer, Ingram,
Matt
Quinn.
Leinart.
Liner, yeah, that's right. Yes, that's right. Those are the guys. But so they're the I wouldn't say knockoff college game day, but they're the secondary college, the Fox's college game day. And when you got a lot, that going on, and then you kind of like NBC and CB, they get the scraps. So okay, it could be Texas versus Ohio State. Well, now let's do this. There's week 2. Fox has the first pick, even though they're not going to get it. They would probably love Ohio State, Texas, but Michigan and Oklahoma play the same week as well. So Fox is getting Michigan, Oklahoma at 12 because you remember last year they played at 7:30 over on
Yeah.
ABC, so it's going to flip flop. So now let's just say in a couple weeks after here, let me pull up the schedule. Let me see if I can pull up the schedule real quick because then we can kind of just like see what's going on. But yeah, so it depends. So like we go to the schedule here and for trying to break this down for you guys as best as I can from what I gather and what I could see. So oh crap, let's do week 3. So week 3 is when it really starts. So, okay, Michigan's got UTEP, right? Who know? I doubt they're going to be on any big game now. Notre Dame, Michigan State plays, so Notre Dame, Michigan State's probably going to NBC at 7:30 because NBC owns the rights to Notre Dame that week. And when Notre Dame's home, they own the rights. So I mean, we really don't got an appetizing schedule for week 3. I mean, North Dakota, Nebraska is an interesting one, and then Ohio State plays Kent State, so Ohio State's probably getting a Big Ten Network game for that one, probably at 12 or 3:30, depending on. They don't like to cross Michigan, Ohio State. That's one thing I noticed, Mark. I'm sure you do too, and I'll throw it back to you on this. They don't cross Ohio State, Michigan because they want obviously the views for the big boys. But it's just very interesting how the contracts work, and they find out, you know, how they kind of stagger these games and schedule these games throughout the season.
Yeah, I would agree. I mean, they typically try to stay away from that, but I mean, it's definitely. I mean, it's like drafting, right? In a sense, it's almost like drafting each and every week for these big programs, on who they want to take a gamble on, views wise. But other than that, I mean, they don't really cross big games, big platforms, big whatever. And it's. I mean, it ends up being a very interesting thing, that they do, and it's usually interesting to see because there is people like us, like in my household, myself and my fiance, we always make sure we want to catch the Ohio State games. Unfortunately, that also means typically we have to keep noon available because we're not typically going to get anything other than an Ohio State noon game. And we
Right.
joke about it in our household, and she would come on and tell you all the time, oh, we're at 12 straight noon games, 13 straight noon games. When can I watch a night game and have a morning where I'm not having to slate out in the middle of my day to try to watch the game? So, I mean, that situation of things is definitely a little bit harder, but I think when it comes to college football, they're probably arguably the biggest, if not a half step under the NFL. So they kind of also have a monopoly on what they get to do as far as streaming and where they get to play, who they get to play on, things like that. And as fans, we kind of just have to kind of roll with the punches on that and kind of just understand that when college football is in, college football is in. And a lot of us like I keep going back to her, but my fiance, for example, she loves football, but she's going to be way more tuned into college than she is in the NFL. So we're way more apt to wait to hear where or who gets those games as opposed to when the Browns are going to play, right? And
Right.
that's just for example. So like I think it's also kind of what I think college sports in general, they also understand that college fans are so diehard that it doesn't really matter when they're going to be at because you're going to find a way to catch that game one way or the other, and that's kind of the glory of college sports when it comes to streaming as opposed to some other things.
And that's why college they don't schedule out. They have the dates, but they don't have the times for like late October,
Yeah, it's
early
always
November.
TBD.
There's always a couple like Michigan Ohio State tradition always at noon. They're always gonna be at noon regardless because Fox picks it up, so they're at noon. And then usually I would say probably about probably I would say June-ish. We'll probably get at least the first 3 weeks for all the college slates. We know already a couple games that they've been coming in and out, and then we know the NFL schedule is coming out in May, so we'll know that. But
Right.
I mean, but May, I mean, but the NFL, you're either playing at 1 o'clock, 4 o'clock, or 8 o'clock on a night on a Thursday, Sunday, or Monday,
Yeah,
wherever.
unless you get flexed.
Yeah, unless you get flex, but that's not until like later in that's like week
Yeah.
10 and beyond. So we pretty much those times are set. But yeah, it's kind of like because they're not no one's gonna watch. Okay, if you're not gonna watch Ohio State or an Alabama play Little Sister of the Prairie and have that game like at 7:30 on ABC. You're probably gonna have that
Sister of the
game.
Prairie is crazy word.
You're probably gonna have. You're probably gonna have. You're probably gonna have it on like the SEC
I
network.
apologize for if there's a little sister of the Prairie University out there somewhere. We did not mean any disrespect,
No.
but we have no idea who you are, where you are, or what you do.
No, but this goes back to streaming. Like, okay, you're not gonna have those like Ohio State. They're probably gonna Alabama. They call it the SEC Plus, but that's more ESPN Plus. As long as you get the ESPN Plus network, you're going. That's where that game is going to be because it's not going to take up a conference game. We all know the
Yeah.
SEC. They love the SEC. They love playing, these cupcake schedules. Starting early November till rivalry week. So like that'd be on SEC Network, okay? SEC Network Plus, okay. It saves a game, okay, for maybe a conference game that could be a little more entertaining than what you're gonna get a BTA again against smaller school in Alabama. That's why the subscription. Okay, you got to find a game. It's on the ESPN app. All right, well here you go. You just turn it on your phone, or now you can, if you have the smart TV, download the app and it's right there in your fingertip. Just a couple clicks up. Look, there's Alabama. That's what I do for college games or hockey games, especially when the ESPN NHL does their exclusive ESPN Plus hockey nights. They have the games on there, so that's how you get people to tune in, Mark. You get people to tune in. They're gonna pay to watch, especially if your favorite team's playing. Now it just sucks. The one caveat, you can't flip channels. Like the game goes to commercial, and you can't you're stuck. Now luckily ESPN has a multi-guide, so or multi-view. If you want to watch 4 games at once, you can. It's pretty awesome, but it's just when you flip the button or you can't flip the remote or touch a button because you got to stay there. And I think that's one thing I think the caveat is, the con of it, Mark, you can't flip channels. You're stuck there the whole time, and you just don't know what to. You're like, oh, well, I got to play my phone for the next 2 minutes, so commercials bad. I think that's just one downside of it.
Yeah, I would definitely agree, and especially when you got little kids like our little 5-year-old here. They want to see the action. They don't want to see
Right.
They don't want to see commercials, right? Do you want to see commercials? See, we don't want to see commercials. So then when it comes to streaming and you're stuck on this one game, this one little place, then there's people like myself, people like little Bella here who have to watch these bullcrap commercials. And all she wants to watch is people score touchdowns, or if you're watching a fight, she wants to see people get punched in the face or elbowed in the face. That's just what it is.
Right.
I mean, even my fiance, like, I think we watched a commercial for the first time in a long time on when we watched the UFC on Paramount Plus, and I was like, well, what the hell is this? I hadn't watched a commercial in so long. So that's the other thing is like when you can't flip the channel like you're used to on a cable box, like we used to be able to, or when it used to be NFL Pass, right, or NFL, or even like the NFL Red Zone. That's like the glory of them is you don't have these commercials. Now you're like, you're just having to be stuck, and that is the one caveat of all these streaming platforms is you get stuck, and then you have to kind of go back to the olden days, which is what streaming services were supposed to take away.
Right, and the one thing I do hate, especially when we do stream, like we watch it with me and Mark. We get because we're Big Ten people, we know it all too well. Fox score a touchdown, they'll go to commercial. They'll come back, kick off a touchback, go to another commercial. That's the most annoyingest thing ever. Like, all right, we're coming back, we're kicking it off. Oh, we're gonna go another 3-minute commercial, especially on Fox. Like, okay, I get it, they gotta pay bills, they gotta get their advertisers in, but it's like really, but especially if you're streaming, like you're killing battery on your phone because you're waiting for 20,000 commercials to watch these games. You're paying. I mean that's probably how they're paying their. I mean, I don't know. I mean, you're watching these games and they're just like, well, here we go again. We're just sitting here playing with our thumbs. You can't change the channel, especially if it's not if you're streaming. you got to be like, well, okay, back to playing on my phone. Or if you're watching on your phone, well, you just got to wait it out, I guess. Especially if you're by yourself or getting your car checked, oils. You're just sitting there.
Yeah.
It's really annoying, especially Peacock's the same way. Prime is on Prime the same way. Luckily, when you're on cable TV, you can flip around, but I think it's annoying at some point where I don't know. I mean, it's good for the game because I guess that's where we're going, Mark. It's where this day and age we're going, but it's definitely something that is people. I'm gonna say people have to open their eyes, but it's definitely something where I mean we've noticed, but I don't know if we're saying it because we're selfish, but I just think maybe a couple things do have to change, and they're always going to change throughout the year and throughout this time. But I think nothing's perfect. Nothing's going to be perfect. But I think as they keep adapting and changing, it's going to be something different for next year's be different than what it is this year.
Yeah, I would agree. And kind of as we kind of cap the conversation on at least streaming, because I know we have some UFC picks to get to as well. I mean, it'll be interesting, and I'm interested to see those of you that do view this and watch this. Let us know how you guys feel about the streaming services as a whole. What you feel like would be good changes, and what you feel like maybe streaming services do better, right? Because Kyle and I obviously have our opinions on it. Everybody has their own opinions on it, and there's some people that really like streaming. There's some people that really hate streaming. There's some people that, in general, don't mind how things maybe are or aren't. So, I mean, with that, I would say just let us know in the comments how you guys feel as we kind of get to it, because we always talk about what's new in the streaming world, what's new in everything kind of coming up. So, I mean, obviously, let us know. And I mean, Kyle, are we ready to take our way over to Paramount Plus for a little bit here and pick some UFC? I think that's where we're headed next off of the streaming. Obviously, we love how Paramount Plus has been. We love what they've done, obviously, with their hour early start time and things of that nature. It gets us old heads to bed. 1 hour early gets us available. Is there anything else you want to touch on streaming wise, or are we kind of rolling right over into Paramount Plus's wheelhouse here?
Yeah, one thing I was thinking about this when we were talking. Now we talk about how bad, how it's sometimes annoying, but sometimes it's a good thing. Like, okay, we'll talk about UFC for example. We'll talk about that in a minute. But UFC, like, okay, when you're with a group of friends, you're waiting for commercials, especially with like one big event like UFC. You're gonna sit there and leave that. You're not touching the app the whole night. As soon as you turn it on, like you're watching it the whole night. You're not flipping unless you have like Mark does. Sometimes he does have those two TVs, right? Then he
Yep.
kind of goes back,
That's the only way to do it sometimes, unfortunately.
especially during football season, there's a big
Yep.
UFC event. And how many times, Mark, if I came over, like, all right, we're doing the two TVs because we got, either Ohio State, Michigan, or a bigger game at 7:30, and then UFC's on, so we kind of got to go back and forth. So we have the two TVs,
Yep.
but you could tell, and you're like, you don't care that it's on there. If you focus on the other side for a minute, you're like, well, here's okay, we're having a great time with friends. We don't really care what the channel looks like. It's more like if you're just by yourself or something, like you just want to like change the channel and it gets by. Like last night I was watching, I was watching a Sunday night baseball game with the Cardinals and Tigers. Like on my phone, and I wanted to see the hockey game that was going on, and the Cavs were playing as the baseball game's going on. So you're trying to go back and forth, and maybe I do need to indulge on a iPad, but just to kind of have a bigger screen, so I'm not wearing down my phone, which I do need a new phone anyways. But it's just it has its pros and cons. So as streaming is probably the way to go, folks. As we do have our, like Mark said, let us know in the comments what you guys think about it, as we will decide or talk about it, and we'll let you know even more. Can't wait to hear about what you guys takes. As we had some comments from our good friend Steve about last week's show, as we were talking about that a little bit. As Mark, I know we talked about that, but really quick, as I know, let's do a quick take. I know you wanted to be there for last show. Give us a quick take on the Tiger Woods situation and the LeBron situation. With the Tiger Woods, you all know he had a DUI, but with DUI and all that. So Mark's gonna give his take on that really quick, and your thoughts on the LeBron rumors he may come home. Mark, I know I had some little bit of pushback on that, but let's hear from you about that. A couple quick thoughts on that, on those two.
Yeah, as far as Tiger Woods goes, he just needs to get it together. I think he's at this point, like you've rolled over like four different cars. You like just hire a driver, dude. You're rich.
Yeah.
You're famous. You're Tiger Woods. You're gonna have a million people wanting to drive you around. Just hire a fucking driver. It's the same thing as like Miles Garrett goes. Just hire drivers if you are this high profile. It doesn't make any sense.
Right.
So as far as that goes, that's literally the only thing I have to say to him because he's made the same like normal people make the same mistakes of like really small things, right? Like, oh, I touched the stove on accident. I grabbed the stove that was still on 5 times on accident. I'm an idiot. This guy, 5 DUIs or whatever, and rolls over a new car every year, and then is back in the news. Like, just hire a driver, dude. As far as the LeBron thing goes, I heard Kyle's take, and I've been thinking about it, and I know, in our live show a little while ago, my soon-to-be father-in-law Jeff kind of spoke to it as well, and I'm kind of on the side of like I'm kind of in between. I think Kyle, your take and Jeff's take. I know Jeff didn't want his comments in our live where we don't need him, we kind of don't want him, and I'm kind of in that boat where it's at what point does he become a distraction coming back home because it's always going to be similar to like there's been all these reports of like he's gonna come home and it's gonna be his last year. So then, like think about how it was for Kobe, right? Everybody knew it was his last game in that arena, so we had to play like they had to play Kobe a bunch. Granted, the Lakers were really bad, so it kind of didn't matter as much. But like the Cavs are set to win right now, so then
Right.
it's his last game in this city ever. Now we're having this parade and we're expected to play him. So would I like him back? Would it be a cool story? Yes. Do I think we should take him back? Maybe for the right price, but that's really it because at the end of the day, is he going to help you actually win? Probably so, but when does he start to decline or when does it become the LeBron show as opposed to the Cavs show, right? When does it become it's his last time in this city, but we need this win to maybe get a 1 seed. Now we're battling on how much do we play him? When does he start? When does he come off the bench, et cetera, et cetera? I know we talked to our buddy Sean, and there's been a bunch of reports that say he's okay with coming off the bench, and I think he would need to come off the bench on this squad at this point,
I don't think he would. I think he would start.
potentially.
I think he would
I
start.
think he would want to start, but I also know that he also has an understanding of where he is in his career. So I think the LeBron thing is very dependent on where he is at in his career, what he's willing to do, and what kind of paycheck he's willing to take. Because he's not worth max money anymore on this team. If he wants to try to come and win a championship, then let's do it, and we'll take him for the right price. That's where I stand on it. But it's no skin off my back as a Cavs fan if he doesn't come back home because I don't think he's as worth it as he maybe was even 3 years ago.
Yeah, so we'll see on that. You all heard my takes. I won't bore you guys with my take again. So that's Mark's take on the whole thing. But all right, before we get to UFC, as we're wrapping up, we want to give a big shout out to someone we went to school with, Olivia. Olivia has gotten engaged over the past couple weeks to her fiance Dylan, and they will be getting married here in the near future. So, and I've gone to school with Olivia. I graduated her. She was in my grade. She was a grade behind Mark. So Mark knows her from school and all that. And she's a great person. I remember, some summers, us and a group of friends would all hang out and, have fires and go swimming or do whatever. So, but Olivia, congratulations to you and Dylan on a on an engagement, very happy engagement, and we look forward to hearing all about we look forward to seeing, hearing about the celebrations and wedding coming up in the near future. So congratulations to you guys on that. All right, the talking point is done. We are ready to go. We have UFC 327 live from Miami coming up this week. This Saturday night, headlined by Yuri Prochazka and Carlos Ulberg. Mark, before we get going, we know we had a fight change as the fight got moved to the next pay-per-view, which I think the next pay-per-view is going to be ecstatic. I'm ecstatic
Oh,
for
it'll
the
be
next
great.
pay-per-view. And we won't say much. probably can't say much on why we think it's going to be great. If you want to know, we'll tell you off here. But
If you know, you
um,
know.
yeah, if you know, you know. And me and Mark were actually talking about that today. But anyways, 327. We had a fight change because the one fighter got hurt, so he's out. They're moving it to the next card in May. But Mark, what fight before we pick stands out to you as we go for 327 in Miami?
Um, I think I'm very interested in this Dominic Reyes Johnny Walker fight outside of the main event. Dominic Reyes has had this comeback and he's been on a tear. I think he's getting closer and closer to a light heavyweight potential title shot, especially if he wins this one. So that outside of the main event is the next fight I'm really looking at. I also like the fact that they put Patricio Pitbull and Aaron Pico together
Just looking at that,
in this
yeah.
matchup as the head prelim. Two guys that were highly touted when the UFC picked them back up finally. So that will be. I think those two fights are my big fights outside of the main event, and those are the ones that I'll be really looking at.
Yeah, I was looking at that fight too. Pitbull and Picho in one of the biggest no, co-main event, or not the co-main event, the big prelim of the night. And then I was looking at Kevin Holland and Randy Brown. Something's got to give it Holland. How much more does he have in the tank? Is he going to hang it up? Is he going? Is he's facing Randy Brown, a Jamaican, which should be really interesting in that fight because there's a lot at stake. Kevin Holland, he's on a 2-fight losing streak. Lost to in October to Michael Malott, and Randy Brown's on a losing streak as well as he lost to Gabriel Bonfim in his last fight. So it would be interesting to see who comes out on top. Both good strikers, both good orthos. So that's be very interesting as they're both the same age, kind of the same age. And then I'm also looking at interesting in this Asmat Morzakhanov and Paulo Costa. I think this is very interesting in this division as this was now the co-main as Asmat is undefeated. So this would be very interesting if Paulo Acosta can overcome this as he's coming off a win over Kopolov. So kind of in the same camp, if you will. So this is a very interesting fight. I'm very excited for that. So without further ado, Mark, let's see where we doing. Oh, hold on. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, so we'll do this one. Cub Swanson and Nate. Yeah, we'll go main card, and then we could probably, unless you want to do. Let's do main card.
Let's do the main card.
And we'll circle back at the end. Let's do, Cub Swanson, Nate Landor in to kick off the card Saturday night, Mark, in Miami.
Well, I currently have a guest picker with me this beautiful gloomy morning. So, Bella, who are we picking this weekend? Who do we think? Are we picking Cub Swanson or are we doing Nate the Train Landwehr? Obviously, you guys know Nate the Train. She's going with Nate the Train Landwehr. Is it because of his name, Nate the Train? She's riding with Nate the Train. I'm riding with her pick. If you guys have watched Nate the Train, you know he just fights wild, and either his face is going to bust it up or the guy against him is going to get busted up. So Bella and I are going with Nate the Train Landwehr to win this one. I'm picking him by decision probably.
Decision?
He's usually a decision fighter. He's a volume fighter, and we're going with Nate the Train here. Kyle, you?
This is tough. Been looking at this fight all week, and I don't know. Landor is off 2 at TKO. He's lost the last 2 fights by TKO. Cub Swanson has 1 at TKO. So this is tough. I mean, they're both around the same age. They're both strikers. This is gonna be tough. I think I'm gonna go Nate the Train on this one. I like where her head's at on this one. Now, could I see
that? Kyle's with you on this one. We're all riding with the train.
Can I see where Cub goes? Can I see Cub pulling it out? Yeah, but I just think the way looking at some of his results and some of his fights going over. I mean, they've all been knockouts. Well, so I think it's gonna be. I think does Mark could his wildness catch up to him? Absolutely. I just with the way you're doing against Cub, but. The parlay will probably change. I'll tell you that. The parlay's probably going to change by the time we get there. So, but I like Nate the Train. Yeah. I don't like it, but Nate the Train to start. That's going to change once parlay hits in a couple of days. But let's go.
It'll change all over the place. We know that.
Our minds will change 20 times before. I mean, Cub Swanson's 14-3 in KOs, and compared to the 9-4 Nate. So this is a very this could go. This is like a back and forth. Maybe I'll stay. Well, I don't know if I'll stay away from that fight, but we'll see on that. All right, we're gonna go as Mark's fight. Dominic Reyes, Johnny Walker, the second fight of the night of the main card. Mark, who you got?
Well, Bella, where are we going? Do you want to say the name or no? No? She's going with Dominic Reyes. I'm going with Dominic Reyes. I like the pick there. Dominic Reyes has been on a tear. He's been knocking people out, and we all know Johnny Walker is susceptible for either knockout or being knocked out. I see him getting knocked back out. He's been on kind of a skid while Dominic Reyes, we already know, is kind of flying high for the title. Johnny Walker, again, I don't love his fighting style. I think he has some things to work on. And I think Dominic Reyes knows that this is kind of his last chance to get back to gold and finish the job here. We over here are going with Dominic Reyes. I'm going with another knockout. He's been knocking people out left and right. And we all know Johnny Walker's real chinny in these fights. So that's where we're going here.
Yeah. And his last 10 out of his last how many ever fights have been TKO. So this is very interesting. And he just lost to the fighter in our main event, Carlos Umberg. He got knocked out by Umberg.
Yep.
So this is tough as well. There's a lot of old fighters in this on this card. Looking at this, a lot of elderlies, a lot of senior citizens. This is tough. This is very, very, very tough for me. Oh yeah, I don't know. I kind of like Walker in this one. I don't know.
Oh,
I don't do. I just the TKO scare me. They both get TKO. That's the thing.
yeah.
Like they're both good
They both can
strikers.
knock out, but they both are susceptible to being knocked out.
I don't think it ends in a draw. There's no way it ends in a draw. I think somebody's getting knocked out. Probably. I don't know who. Give me Walker. Yeah, I think I'm gonna go Walker in this one. I just think he'll find a way to win it. I mean, down. I don't know. I think they both can find a way to win it, especially if they knock him out. They're both not good submissions. As
Yeah. Maybe they'll
they're
knock each
both.
other out and we'll both win.
Yeah, right. Be a draw. Won't that be something? But be interesting to see. Especially, hopefully, it's not like the Macy Barber fight a couple weeks ago. Whoo, that was
Oh,
something.
please no.
That was whoo. As if you all watched it, you
That was
know
the
what it
craziest
was.
thing I've ever seen.
I seriously, I thought she was dead. I'm like, oh my god, like,
My fiance thought she was dead also. She said she's not moving. She's not moving.
whoo. But that was
And
a
I
great
said,
girl.
she's not gonna move. She's not gonna move.
Whoo, that was awesome. All right, Curtis Blades versus Josh Hoykit. Hoykit's undefeated, facing Curtis in this fight. This is Hoykit's. Let's see, 28. He's young. This is Hoykit's. Why does he have a cardinal? That's weird. Anyways, oh, he's a former fullback. Did you know that, Mark?
Yeah.
I did not know
Yeah.
that. Huh?
Yeah, 8-0 as a professional. He's finally getting his chance to kind of get up into into the big leagues with Curtis Blades. It should be a pretty interesting one. Um, Former Arizona Cardinals fullback turned
Huh?
UFC pro.
Huh?
I think that alone just might have swayed Kyle's opinion just a little bit here.
I don't know. I haven't seen him fight, so I don't want to. I have to go back. I did not know that till a couple days ago, or at least yesterday. I was like, huh,
Because
huh.
help me pick these last three, both of you.
Dude, I think I gotta go Curtis, dude. I don't know what this guy. It's probably gonna change again, but I don't know what this guy could bring. He's 8-0, but does he? Is his first fight UFC? Yeah, give me Curtis.
Well, we have differing picks here, as I have added a second guest picker, and I'm not talking about the dog. Um, we have one for Curtis Blades. We have one for Josh Hokett. I think at this point in time, my fiance is not here for the tiebreaker at this moment, but I'm going to go with Josh Hokett to knock the stutter out of Curtis Blades. Josh
Huh?
Hokett being the NFL vet that he was, I'm going to give him a shot. He's 28. It's time to get the senior citizens up out of here. As a football player, he probably can stop that wrestling. I'm just going to go with it and see how it works. We're going to go two for Josh Hokett. I'm going Josh Hokett. Bella is going Curtis Blades. She wants to see the big man wrestle, and she hopefully will not see that happen. Oh, she says we will. She says we'll see Curtis Blades wrestle. So we've got a whole lot going on here, and Bella's going Curtis Blades. Me and the
Yeah. Yeah.
See, there it is. Me and McKinley are going Josh Hokett. That's where we're going over here. We'll try to get a fourth guest picker or a third guest picker in for the last one. We'll work on that. Kyle, let's go to the next. We got 2-for-1 here. Josh Hokett, bring it away for the NFL, please. Please don't make us look bad.
I don't know, dude. This is a parlay changer, right? This is a get the Saturday change our mind type of fight. This is what I don't know, dude. I haven't seen this guy fight, so I don't know how I could. I mean, I don't. I don't know. It'll be very interesting. All right, co-main. We thought this is a new co-main is Joshua Van and has been injured, so he will not be fighting. He's fighting in the May card, which is probably gonna be probably the best. Hopefully, one of the best cards of the Paramount deal so far. But that happens in May. We gotta wait till May. But this next fight, Paulo Acosta versus Asmat Zirkanov. Mark, I think I'm going Murkzanov. I don't know. I just like Murkzanov to get the win here over Paulo Costa in this one.
Interesting fight here. We've seen Azamat kind of fight a little bit here and there. I personally am going with Paulo Costa. I think every once in a while he just kind of figures it out and it clicks. He's much bigger than this guy. He's got about 3 inches on him. So I'm going to go Paulo Costa. Bella, who do we got? Do we got him or we got him? Bella's going Paulo Costa as well. We're 2-0 on the Brazilian.
Yeah, we are.
We either got him or him. Who do we got? We'll see if we can go 4-0 here. We're going 4-0. It's Paulo. Actually, we're going 3-0 over here. Paulo Costa with a clean sweep over in this household. Kyle, Paulo Costa's going to knock him out, and that's my decision.
You know what? I might change my pick in that one. I think you're right.
Kyle has changed his pick, ladies and gentlemen. He's going with the girls. He's going with me. We are 4-0 on Paulo Costa. 4-0 on Paulo Costa.
Thinking about this dude's undefeated. This is really a weird card. This is probably gonna be. This is a weird card, but probably will be one of the best ones of the year so far. It's probably what's gonna happen.
Oh, 100%.
It might top the Izzy fight night. That's how it's probably gonna go at some point down the road. So I'm changing the cost. And once again, this is probably going to be a parlay mind changer once we get there on Saturday afternoon. So it's probably what's going to happen.
At bare minimum.
All right, the main event. Well, there's fights centered around Yuri Prochazka versus Carlos Ulberg. I have no problem picking this one first because I don't think I'm changing my mind regardless of what happens on Saturday. I'm going Ulberg to beat Yuri in this fight. I just think Ulberg's time. He only has one loss. He's 14-1 mark. I'm going Ulberg and maybe to knock Yuri out.
Mm-hmm. We are all on the Carlos Ulberg train. Ulberg, the younger fighter, he trains over there in Australia with Izzy and that team. I love him. The girls love him. We're all going Carlos Ulberg to close out our picks as we end here on our additional topic. Carlos Ulberg, clean sweep.
I like that.
Clean sweep for Carlos Ulberg. He's been fighting kangaroos all training camp. Now he's gonna fight Yuri Prochazka. He's probably gonna knock him out, and we're gonna see Carlos Ulberg bring us home the money.
I like that. That's one thing I'm probably not changing my mind on. That's probably a guy I'm picking regardless. Everybody else, I'm gonna have to do a lot. I'm gonna have to do a lot of thinking because, of course, if I get into a lot of thinking, it's going to yeah. So we'll see how that goes, but be very interesting. It's gonna be a parlay changer for sure. We're gonna get to Saturday and be like, you know what, that's how it's gonna be. So
we're going clean sweep, Carlos Ulberg. Remember it. Write it down. The girls. I'm betting every pick that the girls picked. They're gonna bring us home the money, Kyle. For the first time in 2026, that's how I'm going to call it.
I sure hope so. But, ladies and gentlemen, we thank you for joining us. We thank you for listening to this topic. Let us know what you thought of the streaming topic in the comments. Don't forget, we have a treat for you starting in May. We are very excited to bring it to you. We don't want to spoil it because we want to make sure it actually gets off the ground running first. But I think you guys will like it. And it's going to be a trickle effect I'll at least say this, it's going to trickle effect into football season. So we are very excited for that. as I think is, especially if we get this first one under our belt, I think the rest is going to flow and you guys are going to like it. And I know I talked to Mark about it. Mark's kind of liking the idea. So we are going to hopefully, long as it doesn't fall through, we're going to do it. We're very excited. We thank you, Danny, for the idea. And don't forget, live show April 29th. And we will see you next week. Guess what? Our next guest, Aaron, he's going to join us to talk hockey and NBA playoffs that start next week. So he will join us live right here. Well, not live, but live for us right here, and we'll have it for you that next week. So I'm Kyle, and for Mark and all the girls over there, we say thank you for joining us. We'll see you next week on another edition of The Final Whistle. Goodbye.